morning. This is the Eager Beaver Show.
You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters, CanadianTarot.com, your uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Pepper Master, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. Well, good morning and hello, kids, and welcome to season 4 and episode number 438 of the Daily Beaver Morning Show here on the Cryon Media Network. Yay! Boom, 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 ba, 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 ba. Today, there was 3 booms for a reason. Today, recording day, is Thursday, August 1st, 2024, and it's gonna be a hot one.
Oh, yeah.
I should be playing smooth all day long. Environment Canada issued a warning saying that where we are here in the Beaver Lodge that we could expect temperatures that feel like 40 for the next few days. I do not think that there will be any Eager Beaver Lodge tennis reports. Because I learned last year when I went to play one day when it was feeling like 36 out, and then spent the evening in the bathroom on my knees talking to Ralph on the porcelain phone. So I'm probably not too keen to have that experience again. So the tennis racket will probably be staying in the bag, although it is going to take me everything I can to not want to play tennis because I'm being inspired by our Canadians at the Olympics, but more on that later. A big thank you goes to our podcast founding sponsors, the Pepper Master, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, and CanadianTarot.com. But first, Mr. Grizzly, how's your mental health doing today, sir?
Oddly enough, it's not wonderful at the moment. No, I didn't sleep well. So I have no coffee. I didn't sleep well. I'm having a cup of tea, and it's just not doing what coffee does. So yeah, I'm not really wide awake. I fell asleep on the couch watching a movie. Crawled into bed at 4 a.m. The dog crawled on top of me. I didn't sleep well.
Oh. Okay. Kit Mr. Jim says, Happy Lugnasad. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that right. And I have no idea what that is. So I think I would have to look that up.
No clue.
Yeah, no clue. All right. I'm in the same boat as you are, Mr. Grizzly. It's been about 4 days that I have not gotten a full night. But for some reason, I am energetic and chipper. Like last night, I actually went to bed and I was dead tired.
Mm-hmm.
Like I put earplugs in and like put a face mask on because I did that. I was out. Like pretty much I actually stretched out in bed for a couple of seconds and I was falling asleep. So I put the things on. So clearly my body's telling me to sleep. And yet I still woke up at 4 in the morning. It's like I don't have my alarm is set for 6:15 in case like I sleep through because I normally end up waking up before my alarm.
Right.
Yes. And it's been like 6:15 is the latest I can get up and still be on the show, be at the show on time. And I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I can sleep for an extra 2 hours and 15 minutes, and I haven't slept a full night in the last 3 nights. So you think my body? Nope. Up. I should be, my eyes should be burning. I should be like, ugh.
Hmm.
I am
Oh, I hear
chipper.
you.
Now, by the time around 11 o'clock this morning happens, I'm going to be falling asleep in this chair while I'm trying to watch the Olympics, which happened yesterday.
I'm going to take a nap immediately after this. I tried yesterday, but my dog wouldn't let me. So today
So,
I need to get a nap in for
yeah.
sure.
But your eyes look like I should be feeling the
Mm.
the tiny, tiny, tiny eyes. Oh man. Boy, it's well, let's start with some good news. Why not? Um, First of all, there was another medal in the pool. The first medal in swimming by a Canadian man since 2012, when both Ryan Cochrane got a silver in the 1500 meter and Brent Hayden got a bronze in the 100 meter. But yesterday, Ilya Karun, who apparently is the child of two Cirque du Soleil performers.
I did not know that.
Yeah, there's some athletic pedigree there, because it takes a decent amount of athleticism to be a Cirque du Soleil performer in most cases. I mean, there are certain acts that don't necessarily require some clown stuff, and maybe, but all the aerials and the balancing and the counterweight stuff and all that kind of that.
Mhm.
So again, we often don't think of dancers and circus performers and whatnot as trained athletes, but
They are. They very
right?
much are.
It's just that their sports are not in the Olympics, right? And there's no World Cup. But yeah, he, despite a less than optimal flip turn going into the last 50, still captured a bronze. So that's another one in the pool. Yet another fourth place in the pool, this time in the diving pool. The women's 10-meter synchro platform. They were in third place going to the last dive, but every single other team knocked it out of the park. And the Canadians had a great entry, but when they did the slow motion, you could see that they were out of sync
Yeah.
on the spinning. One was up and one was down, and that was enough to make the difference
Yeah,
in
I
the
saw
final
that.
round, where everybody did really, really, really well. So there was some devastation for one of the two divers there, I think, because in Tokyo they had also finished fourth. So it's just like, what do I have to do? But still, great performances because everybody brought their game.
I'm
And
just looking at the medal count right now. Canada has 2 gold, 2 silver, and 3 bronze right now.
exactly. So, and the third bronze was Ilya Karun.
Mhm.
And the also in tennis, Felix Auger-Aliassime, even though he was 0-7 lifetime against former world number one Daniil Medvedev of Russia, handled him in straight sets. Handled him. First ever victory against him, against the world number 5 to advance to the quarterfinals in tennis. So I am feeling the Felix today. And then he teamed up with Gabriela Dabrowski, and won in mixed doubles. And a couple of times it was looking like they were going to blow it, but they had a final set tiebreak, and they were leading 4-1, and then fell behind 8-6. And then just like, I don't know what it is they did, but the last 4 points, boom, 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 boom. So that's enough of that. Boom, finishing it. So they closed it like champs. So that's looking pretty darn good as well. Summer McIntosh will be swimming today in the final of the women's 200-meter butterfly, and she finished first in the semifinal, so she will have the best lane for it. So that's something to watch today. But despite all that great news, oh yes, the men's basketball team has qualified for the playoff round with their 2 wins already, and the women's 3-on-3 basketball team are now at 2-0. But the big news is that Canada's women's soccer team, again, Gillis, again, 2 matches in a row. She scored. Defeated Colombia 1-0, and they had to win. A tie wouldn't have done it because a tie only gives 1 point.
And they needed the 3 to advance because they were down. They were at 0 when they entered because they'd already lost 6.
Yeah. But they did it. So they finished second in the pool despite everything that was done trying to make sure that they're not there.
Mm-hmm.
And they will next play Germany in the first round in the quarterfinal. So go Canada, go. I am hoping. Now, often, I listen, this is proof that they are a great team, regardless of all the scandal, that the players are a great team. Now, the thing is that often when a situation like this arrives, there's so much stress and adrenaline and whatnot trying to get over the obstacle that someone put in your way. And they have done that now. And often when that happens, a team or an athlete will breathe a sigh of relief. And that can often mean that the next match or the next thing doesn't work out well. So, Canada, we're all rooting for them. If they do not defeat Germany, because it's not because they didn't play well. It would be probably because just the exhale and the relaxation and the loss of that tension, because clearly they're playing for each other and they're playing for the love of the game. Right? So that could happen. So don't be surprised if it does. It would be a natural thing. But if they can overcome that, there's a good chance they could go all the way. Because that type of energy, when you start using it as fuel and you channel it positively, it's amazing what you can accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
So just to let you know, there could be a letdown, or there could just be, you know what, we did this, now let's really do this. So one or two things can happen here. Either way, we are proud of them, because that is a remarkable story. Now, the only thing I fear is, because the investigations are still going on, especially from the FIFA side, is whether or not this, oh, wow, you did that? Okay, well, let's review that gold medal. Because we know that...
That's the big question. Because the cheating has been going on that long.
Yeah, they sort of have... They could make that justification now. It's like, oh, yeah, you decide. Because it depends how the officials from FIFA decide to view this. If they view the 3 wins as being defiance, and they are not going to be stood up to by, then we can expect further sanctions that might seek to make an example of us again. So, but we know the story. We know the story. They overcome adversity, and they did us proud. I went and read the story by Rick Westhead, is it? His last name? I think so. Because I believe in a previous show I said Westlake by accident, and it's not Westlake. I believe it is Westhead. I went to read the story because you brought it to us yesterday, Mr. Grizzly. And there was one part of it that I found particularly interesting. And it was, yes, Rick Westhead, who, by the way, at the end of the year, when they hand out the awards for journalism, if there are awards for sports journalism, give him all the awards. Give him all the prizes, because he's doing some really, really, really good work here. Listen, he's reporting things that we do not want to hear, and he's gotten a lot of backlash at it.
Well, he's doing his job. He's doing his job, and he's reporting the truth.
Not liking what you hear doesn't make it any less true. All right? And it's not his fault that the facts are facts we don't like. They are facts. And like you said, Mr. Grizzly, he's doing his job, and he's doing it damn well. The thing here that's really interesting is that Bev Priestman, who very strategically answered the question when asked point blank whether or not she knew. She didn't say yes and she didn't say no. But she seemed to say things that would give the impression that had she known, she would not approve of it. And that email that they found definitely does not support that narrative. Because as you mentioned here, she got the email from someone that said, so this spying thing that we're doing, I'm not, just want to go back on that conversation we had, but me saying I was not comfortable about that spying thing and I don't want to do it anymore. So we're clear on that. She sent a letter to HR saying,
Right.
what do we do about this? Because, well, here we go. The letter that the email she received said, as discussed yesterday, in terms of the spying conversation, I came off the meeting with the clarity you understood my reasons for me being unwilling to do this moving forward. Morally, my own reputation within the analysis field, potentially being unable to fulfill my role on a match day. Moving forward, I will have a discussion with Joey Lombardi and reach out to the wider tech team with regards to how we could potentially look for other solutions, but just wanted to confirm that you will not be asking me to fulfill the role of spying in the upcoming and future camps. That leads me to believe that in that conversation, perhaps Bev Priestman insisted a little that no, this needs to be done. And that person said, no, I'm making it very clear that this is something I do not want done. And now I am writing you an email stating it because I'm putting it in writing to get you to say in writing that, yes, we are clear on this. That leads me to believe that that's what happened before. That's just speculation based on the content of this. And it seems that instead of responding to that person directly, she wrote an external human resources consultant who works with Canada Soccer, so not someone within Canada Soccer, stating, quote, seeking your advice and input here regarding this formal email on spying. It's something the analyst has always done, and I know there's a whole operation on the men's side with regards to it. Priestman also wrote in that email that a different Canada Soccer employee had worked recently with her staff, quote, and he was outstanding in this area. Yesterday in a meeting when discussing, I asked the analyst to propose an alternative solution for the scouting. This is not scouting. It can be the difference between winning and losing, and all top 10 teams do it. Now, perhaps that is true. Just like when we were talking about drugs back in Ben Johnson's day, everybody's doing it.
Yeah.
But so far, we do not have video evidence or complaints or anything, or somebody being caught.
No emails.
No emails, no what.
Nothing.
Doesn't mean they have it. We just don't have it.
There's nothing.
Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Sorry, there's nothing in the public sphere at the moment. Maybe this will drag some of this out in subsequent weeks and months, but we don't know. At the moment, all we know is Canada and someone from Team Canada claiming that everybody else does it. Right? So that's what we know for a fact. Now, Canada Soccer provided the emails to FIFA. So that goes to the credibility of Canada Soccer when people are saying they do not believe that Canada Soccer itself was involved in this in any way. They did forward the emails. The Federation also wrote in the FIFA document, this is according to the article here, that it believes the spying program began with John Herdman, who coached the women's national team from 2011 to 2018 and the men's team from 2018 to 2023, which is why I'm concerned about the gold medal being removed. And when John Herdman was asked about this earlier, before this more recent news came out, he also described it as scouting. Again, which is not. Scouting happens through the front door. You're invited to attend the practice, or you show up to attend the practice and they don't ask you to leave, or you go to a match that's there and you sit in the stands when the match is like being shown on TV or whatnot, and people can see you there. That's scouting, right? That's when they do talk about college sports in the United States, when they say that the scouts were there. The scouts are there. Everybody knows the scouts are there. They're trying to give their best performance because they know the scouts are there. It's not like the scout just shows up and says, like, I'm not telling you I'm coming. I'm guessing there's certain instances where there are scouts there that go like this, but for the big things, but they show up at the match. They don't hide behind a bush or climb on top of a roof or whatnot and then fly a drone or take a video camera and then try to do this.
You just
Their
watch the
presence
game.
is known,
Yes.
right? Or they watch tape, or they, So this is fun with words here when we're talking about scouting. Now, Herdman told reporters, this article says on July 26, he is confident his teams never spied on competitors at the Olympics or the World Cup. And he said that he will cooperate with Canada Soccer during the probe. But here, and I'm guessing that this is, not sure from whom this quote is, but it says, we suspect that the practice of using a drone stems back to John Herdman when he was the head coach of the women's national team. Okay, this is what Canada Soccer wrote to FIFA on July 27th. Quote, in other words, this was a practice started by one person, John Herdman, and continued by Bev Priestman. It was not facilitated by the Federation. New Canada Soccer Administration is supporting a full independent investigation of this issue and has already taken steps to ensure that this scouting tactic does not happen again. And it seems that when John Priestman was...
John Herdman.
John Herdman, sorry, I'm mixing the names up, was the coach. She was an assistant coach under him.
Mm-hmm. So
she would have been there for it.
Yeah.
Which then kind of say, well, why did she do it? Well, then if it's a continuing... Now, again, maybe she had no hand in starting the practice, and then she came in as assistant coach, and this is how we do things, and somebody writes and says, like, I don't want to do this anymore, and then, well, if this is all she's ever known with being with Team Canada, like this, the email to Human Resources saying, what do we do about this? Seems like it would be a normal thing to send in that context. Not normal in the sense that, okay, but a behavior that one would reasonably expect. I've come into an organization, this is the culture, somebody wants to change the culture. HR, what do we do about this? How do I respond to this? So, but to give the impression that it's something that she would not have sanctioned may not have been the most honest. It might be something that someone says before they know somebody has the emails. So, yeah, not great. Not great at all. But hey, it's reality and we have to deal with it. So, again, kudos to Rick Westhead for exceptional reporting. It's really good that Soccer Canada seems to be cooperating. I'm happy to see that, to hear that John Herdman will be cooperating. Hopefully he will be able to prove that when he was coaching that this wasn't a thing, at least at the World Cup and the Olympics, if not in regular season play and in friendlies and stuff, but hopefully at least not for the World Cup and Olympics. But it shouldn't have happened at all. Shouldn't have happened at all.
It did. It's over. It's done with. It's behind them. Let's, move on as a team and move on as a country and do better in the future and not cheat, because nobody likes a cheater.
Nobody. It's that impression. Don't be that guy. Nobody likes that guy.
Well, speaking of that guy, I've got something for you. I don't know if you've seen this yet. This is the latest from the Conservative Party of Canada. The email that they sent out to people who are on their subscription list. I'm going to blow this up and read it to you.
Yeah.
So it's I can't blow it up. Just read it to you. Because this is just so absurd. It's beyond the pale, which I'm told I'm not supposed to say that anymore, apparently. From the Conservative Party of Canada, the email starts, "Friend, we don't have much time left. We are staring down a crucial deadline. Justin Trudeau and his Liberal NDP coalition, by the way, that's not a thing, are on a warpath to censor Canadians, raise taxes, and are unleashing a plague of violent crime in our communities before they get kicked out of office. We need to stop them in their tracks before more damage is done. Please tell me how they are allowed to say such things and not be slapped down for it.
I do not know.
Elections Canada, are you paying attention? This is just, it's not just a lie, it's a bald-faced lie.
It's not only a lie, it's stochastic.
It's completely stochastic.
Warpath is in all caps for people listening. Like
Yes.
this, who don't not see the screen. Warpath is in all caps on that, and the email is titled "Fight for Freedom."
Mm-hmm.
So, fight for freedom. The party that we're trying to defeat is on a warpath, and they are unleashing a wave of crime prior to the elections. I don't know about you, Mr. Grizzly, but I'm reading this, and this smacks very much of you need to fight like hell or else you won't have a country anymore.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's stochastic terrorism for sure, without a doubt. They are behaving in a very dangerous manner, and they just keep ramping up the rhetoric. And it's getting to the point where we all know something bad is going to happen.
Yes.
Something bad is going, and then they're going to go, wasn't us. We didn't do it.
Yeah. We didn't literally tell people to. Where's the quote? Find the quote. Tell me where I said that. Find the exact
words.
Where's
the page? Show me the page.
Yes. And if they are not the exact words, like we say, you're inciting people to violence. Find me where we said to people, like, go out and be violent. We never said that. You don't have to say it. It doesn't have to be literally said.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So there is a body of work increasing slowly and steadily in intensity and virulence over time. There's only one place that leads. Someone getting hurt. This is irresponsible. It's not irresponsible. It's irresponsible. It's reckless. It's is depraved indifference not a thing anymore? There used to be a time where betrayal of the public trust was a thing that people would go to court for. Depraved indifference, gross negligence. What the hell's happening? There used to be a time where if you would ask me about Canada, I would always say that we are smarter than this and better than this.
I don't think we are.
Now, I'm just hoping that enough of us are.
Yeah.
And there seems to be no way for us to intervene, no way to get people to take action on this, no way to get people to investigate this, no way to can't get people to press charges. And it doesn't seem that the federal government, because it's politics, will turn around and say, you know what, this is actually slanderous and defamatory, and we are going to sue you.
So the height of hypocrisy is the Conservative Party of Canada. And I'll give you a for instance. Anna Roberts, MP, says, after 9 years of Justin Trudeau's soft on crime policies, sexual assaults are up 75%. We are heading back to Ottawa for an emergency meeting of the Status of Women Committee to hear from the experts on how we can combat violent crime against women. We must protect Canadians. Except here's the thing. Michelle Ferrari and all Conservatives voted against funding for domestic abuse prevention. The hypocrisy, it's staggering.
And about that meeting, that meeting happened. It was an extraordinary meeting that Conservatives scheduled because in a minority parliament, certain committees are chaired by the opposition.
Mm-hmm.
The Standing Committee on the Status of Women, which is where that meeting took place,
right,
is chaired by Conservatives. The committee used to be chaired by a CPC MP whose name is Karen Vecchio,
mm-hmm.
who seemed to be, I guess, one of the few somewhat moderates still left in the Conservative Party of Canada. And in April, I have an article here in the London Free Press, April 23rd, she was ousted from the federal committee by her own party.
Why is
So this
that?
article says, women's advocates slam MP Karen Vecchio's ouster from federal committee. Advocates are crying foul after a London area MP was shuffled out of her longtime post as chair of Parliament's Status of Women Committee. Elgin Middlesex London MP Karen Vecchio was moved out of her role as the chair last week, this is in April, a position she has held since 2017. After her term ended and the Conservatives on the committee voted to replace her with another MP. It wasn't opposition MPs. Oh, sorry, opposition. It wasn't government and, sorry, it wasn't, let's put it this way. It wasn't MPs from other parties asking for her to be removed. The Conservatives removed her and replaced her with another MP. Local women's advocates and a former municipal politician took to Twitter to slam Vecchio's unceremonious ouster from the committee. Quote, I'd add my name to the growing number of people upset that Pierre Poilievre has removed Karen Vecchio from her role as the chair of the Status of Women Committee. London Police Service Board member Megan Walker, a former executive director of the London Abused Women's Centre, wrote, Karen is a hardworking MP who has worked relentlessly on issues facing women and Canadians. A request for comment to Vecchio's office was unreturned on Monday. Former Thames Centre councillor Kelly Elliott said on X that Vecchio's departure from the committee was a huge blow, and that though she and Vecchio disagreed on some issues, quote, one thing no one can ever debate about her is her passion on this committee, she wrote. In a post on Twitter, London Abused Women's Centre Executive Director Jennifer Dunn said Vecchio's departure from the committee is a huge loss and thanked the Conservative MP for, quote, unwavering support to the women's organisation. Hastings, Lennox, and Addington Conservative MP Shelby Cramp-Newman, who was elected in 2021, is succeeding Vecchio in the committee chairperson role. And she is the one that unilaterally called this special extraordinary meeting. The 11-person standing committee, which was created in 2004, has 5 Liberal MPs, 4 Conservative MPs, and 1 each from the New Democrats and Bloc Québécois. During the years, it has studied murdered and missing Indigenous women and girls, safety in sports, intimate partner violence, and access to menstrual products. Liberal MPs on the committee abstained from the latest vote for the chair. Lisa Hepfner, a member of the Status of Women's Committee, said she was devastated by the change. Quote, it feels like Vecchio was thrown under the bus. She was. Quote, she has worked so hard for so many years, worked with her whole heart, and we have been able to accomplish great things at this committee. I really hope we can continue being collaborative, Hepfner said. Guess not. In an email statement Monday, Conservative spokesperson Sebastian Skamsky said changes to the committee assignments are not an irregular occurrence and praised Cramp-Newman as a, quote, proud female common-sense conservative who will, quote, champion the issues facing Canadian women who have suffered after 9 years of Justin Trudeau's Liberal NDP's costly coalition. No.
No.
No. And although changes to committee assignments are not irregular, you know what is irregular? Somebody getting a committee assignment and maintaining it for 7 years.
Mm-hmm.
Someone being so good at that job that despite elections and changes in government, changes in party like this, they get to keep that position.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's irregular. They had a good one. And they couldn't have that.
No.
We can't have nice things. So they had to change that.
It's just.
Yeah. Vecchio was first elected in 2015, first joined the committee as a member in January 2016, and has previously served as the deputy House leader in the Conservative caucus. So someone with great standing. Deputy House leader is an important position. The 3-term MP was among the handful of MPs who backed former Quebec Premier Jean Charest in the 2022 Conservative leadership contest.
Oh, so there it is.
Oops, there it is.
That's somebody that they didn't approve of because Pierre Poilievre is the current leader.
Mm-hmm.
Now, have to get rid of all dissenters.
Mm-hmm. Now, if you remember, a gentleman named Alain Reyes, who also supported Charest, and as soon as Pierre became leader, there was a text message that went out to people in Alain Reyes's electoral district, urging them to ask him to step aside, or saying that his time was done. She'd probably not run again, or something like that. And then the conservative said, "Oh, that was a mistake. That was never intended to be sent." And everybody accepted that. And we made the point on this show that, yeah, okay, if the email was never intended to be sent, or the text message, why was it even drafted? Something that was not intended to be sent cannot be sent if it is not even drafted.
It was always intended to go out.
And we wondered if they had a message like that for every single one of the conservative faction that decided not to support Pierre. And we hadn't heard anything yet. Until now. Because the text message thing blew up in their face, so they had to find another way. So this is how they did this. And surprise, surprise, just this past week, I believe, Karen Vecchio announced that, according to the CBC, posted July 30th, so just a few days ago, Conservative MP Karen Vecchio won't run again in next election.
Yeah, I saw that.
A Conservative MP with a reputation for being able to work across party lines, again, we can't have that,
No.
has confirmed to a local radio station that she's planning to leave federal politics and will not run again in the next election. Elgin Middlesex London MP Karen Vecchio was first elected in 2015 and has won the last 3 elections handily with about 50% of the vote each time, but clearly that's not good enough for PP. But in an interview excerpt that radio station 94.1 St. Thomas Today posted online, Vecchio said she would not be going for a 4th straight victory. Quote, "Unfortunately, my name will not be on the ballot," she said. "Next year, when the federal election occurs, I will have been at 10 years. And for me, I believe everybody has an expiry date. And I know when it's time to be home." The radio station also quotes Vecchio as saying she had, quote, "put my writing first and now wants, quote, to return to the needs and commitments of my family." Vecchio, quote, has proudly served her community since 2015 and has been a dedicated member of the Conservative caucus, said party spokesperson Sarah Fisher in a statement. Quote, "We wish her all the best following." Okay, let me read that because I believe that this particular thing is called Nice Nasty, and it should be read in Mean Girl voice.
Sure, I'll give you that.
Karen has proudly served her community since 2015 and has been a dedicated member of the Conservative caucus. We wish her all the best following the next election as she continues to serve her constituents until then. Vecchio's decision not to run again is disappointing, said Nawaz Tahir, a constituent and spokesperson for Hikma Public Affairs Council, a group that strives to increase the political participation of Muslims in the London, Ontario area. Quote, "I thought she was one of the members of parliament that truly listened and took time to sit down and spend as much time with you as needed, so that's a loss for our community," he said in an interview with CBC News. Tahir said Tahir said her constituents admire her for being down-to-earth, sincere, and for taking time to connect with people and issues. Quote, "In this day and age where you can contrast people who seem fake In this day and age where you can contrast people who seem fake or overly hyper-partisan, she seemed to be the exact opposite of that," she said. And again, we can't have that in PP's Conservative Party. Vecchio has a reputation for being able to work across party lines to get things done, according to Liberal and NDP members who served with her on the Standing Committee of the Status of Women, so respected by her colleagues from other parties. Again, we can't have that. In April, Vecchio was abruptly shuffled out of her role as chair of the committee, a position she held and which came with a pay bump of $13,700. The Conservatives on the committee voted to replace her with Shelby Cramp Newman. At the time, the spokesperson for the opposition said that the reshuffling committee assignments are not unusual. Vecchio was one of the 16 MPs who supported former Quebec Premier Jean Charest, so 2 down, 14 to go. She was also the lone federal Conservative in the room during an April 2023 announcement that St. Thomas, Ontario would be, quote, home to Volkswagen's first electric vehicle battery plant in North America. So, that's when François-Philippe Champagne and Doug Ford got together and decided that they were going to make this big announcement. it was her electoral district, so she went to the announcement. So she was seen
With a liberal.
on video with a liberal while they were announcing something good that they were doing.
Yeah,
Again,
she's willing to work across party lines, obviously, and the current party in opposition. Well, again, I wish more Canadians recognize that they are not a conservative party. They are the Reform Party under a new name. I wish more Canadians recognize that. Unfortunately, many people have been fooled into thinking they're the Conservative Party. They are not.
they are most definitely not. And the last two little paragraphs of this article are particularly, I think there might have been a little editorial choices in there.
Oh,
Yes. After praising the politician and workers who secured the deal, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau launched into a pointed partisan attack on Poilievre and noted Vecchio's presence at the event. Pierre Poilievre came out and said this project was a waste of money, Trudeau said at the announcement. Karen, you have your work cut out for you.
wow.
Yeah. So, this extraordinary meeting that happened, well, let's just say it did not go well.
No,
Like,
not at all.
at all.
It was a shit show, to put it bluntly.
You took the word right out of my mouth, Mr. Grizzly, on that one. From iPolitics. Title: Domestic abuse survivors leave committee meeting crying after MPs trade political barbs. This is by Davis Legree at iPolitics. Quote, advocates for ending violence against women left a committee meeting in tears after MPs spent most of the discussion accusing each other of playing political games. Shelby Cramp-Newman, the new Conservative chair of the House Committee on the Status of Women, unilaterally called the midsummer meeting to discuss a new report from Statistics Canada that suggested domestic violence against women was on the rise. Shortly after witnesses provided opening testimony, the Liberal MP Anita Vandenbeld moved a motion to abandon the meeting's topic in favor of continuing a previous discussion on abortion rights. I probably would not have done that, but here's the reasons. Vandenbeld said violence against women was a crisis that the government took seriously, but moved the motion to protest how the meeting was organized. Quote, we know that the leader of the opposition has asked Conservative-chaired committees to hold as many meetings as possible in the summer to take us away from the important work we're doing listening to our constituents, said Vandenbeld. We were not given any opportunity except the Conservatives to put forward witness names. So this is the time that people should be on the barbecue circuit and whatnot talking to Canadians. Well, the Conservatives don't want the Liberals to do that because that's when the Liberals do best, when they're one-on-one with people or having town halls. That's when the Prime Minister does best. So let's keep them busy by keeping them coming back to Ottawa for the committee. And then let's just announce these meetings, surprise, and let's unilaterally decide that we only get to decide who the witnesses are and nobody else. So, of course, committee members are not going to stand for that. So I understand why the Liberal MP Anita Vandenbeld did that. But there was another option, was to actually just not get into that type of argument and try to hold the meeting on that thing and watch the Conservatives implode. But they decided to attack on process. Quote, this is cruel. We do not use victims and survivors' trauma to try and score political points at this committee. What followed was nearly a full hour of political mudslinging between Liberal, Conservative, and NDP members of the committee. The Conservatives accused the other parties of silencing victims of domestic violence, which is the whole reason for which they call this as well. Don't you care about domestic violence? Look at these Liberals. They say they care about women. Justin Trudeau sure is a fake feminist. They don't even care enough about domestic violence to come back for a meeting. These results are shocking.
Yeah.
Yes. They clearly don't care about the women either, because that's not why the meeting was called. It certainly wasn't for the benefit of the women that they invited, because if it was, even if Anita Vandenbeld said, you know what, I'm objecting to how this is, we should do that, they probably would not have spent the next hour gleefully engaging in the mudslinging in the presence of the witnesses that were there, that were domestic abuse survivors, who came there in good faith to talk about their experiences.
Yeah, just
Quote, there were no Indigenous women asked to speak today. There was no one from the LGBTQ community asked to speak today. And there was nobody from the trans community asked to speak today about violence when we are the ones on the front lines, said NDP MP Leah Gazan. It's hard for me to hold back tears. This is the one place where women could sit in safety, and it's no longer safe. That is one hell of an accusation. And once again, if you happen to be living in NDP MP Leah Gazan's electoral district, please re-elect her because she is a good one.
mm-hmm.
During the back and forth, Kate Alexander, a domestic assault survivor representing End Violence Everywhere, and Megan Walker from End Male Violence Against Women stood up and physically turned their backs to the committee members before ultimately leaving the room. Quote, "We are leaving," said Walker as she made her exit. In her opening remarks, Alexander mentioned that the meeting was taking place exactly 3 years after she was assaulted by her ex-partner and displayed graphic pictures of the harm she experienced. Apparently, that wasn't enough to move the members of the committee to find some mastery over themselves
Of course not.
and behave like mature adults.
No.
Normal people don't do this.
They're self-centered narcissists who will follow their leader's messaging, which is screw everybody, we win.
There's this thing going on in the United States. Republicans are weird. We talked about it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It applies here too.
Yeah.
Conservatives are wacko.
Well,
Conservatives are weird. This is not normal behavior. Normal people don't invite people who are domestic abuse survivors to come and tell about their stuff and then end up in a bun fight.
mm-hmm.
Normal people don't do this, especially after being showed pictures of harm.
Yeah.
You think that would center people and put them in a mode of...
It should. It should. But these people have no moral center. They have no moral compass. They only care about serving their exalted leader and winning at any cost. Any cost. If they can score a cheap political point, they don't care who gets harmed in the process.
Yep.
These are power-hungry, power-mad narcissists. These are not good people. I say this so often. I'm tired of saying it, but it's a simple matter of fact. It's the truth. These are not good people representing whatever constituency they represent. They're not good people. They're not the kind of people you want to represent you in the House of Parliament.
Yeah.
These are bad individuals,
Yeah.
ill-intentioned individuals who do not give a damn about anybody but themselves.
Yeah. Yeah.
They don't care.
No. Not whatsoever. Not whatsoever. Because you'd think this would be a solemn,
Should be.
right, meeting in this case. Conservative MP Michelle Ferreri sought to publicly apologize to Alexander's mother, who was in attendance and could be heard responding that sorry isn't good enough.
Mm-hmm.
Way to go, Mom. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. They behave like that. Oh, we're so sorry. Yeah, that's not good enough. I do not accept that apology.
Yes, exactly.
Anna Roberts, another Tory, lamented that Wednesday's meeting had, quote, re-victimized these poor young women. Of course, she's going to blame the Liberals and the NDP and the Bloc for that. Not the people that sprung a surprise meeting and then only invited voices that they wanted to hear. And then decided they didn't want to hear them. They made people take time out of their lives and come to Ottawa for that meeting, only to do this to them. The House Status of Women Committee had long held a reputation for collegiality, where members from different parties reached across the aisle to work collaboratively. Again, we can't have that. Earlier this year, the Conservatives tapped Camp Newman to replace longtime committee chair Karen Vecchio, the latter of which was lauded for her history of nonpartisan behavior. Vecchio recently announced she would not be seeking re-election whenever the writ next drops federally. For Bloc MP Andréane Larouche, Wednesday's display suggested the Status of Women Committee could soon be subjected to the same partisan games that often obstruct other parliamentary committees. Quote, I'm so disheartened to see that the Status of Women Committee fall into that trap of partisanship, Larouche said in French. We've made the issue of violence against women political. It's very disappointing. Women cannot become tools for political games, and that's what is happening. No future meetings of the committee have been scheduled.
Just disgusting.
I am, and well, it seems that Mr. Grizzly, I will give you, because there a link that we can play, because there's some video. Now, the whole meeting is available on CPEC if you want to watch it. This is not video from the meeting, or maybe it is, because it could be that Leah Gazan was participating remotely. So I don't have the context from this clip, whether it comes from the meeting or it's something that she did after.
Okay.
But
yeah,
a quote here from she can't I can't actually read the at that it's from
So,
here on my thing.
Okay,
But
apparently, apparently, Michelle Ferrari's two witnesses today. I guess this was yesterday, yes, at the Status of Women Committee. It was a stunt. One of the women, Ms. Roberts, claimed that was silenced by the Liberals and NDP as a longtime Conservative Party donor and supporter, is being sued for $4 million for engaging in a smear campaign against a police officer.
only the best people. Where did you find that part? I missed that part.
Tavi G just sent it to me.
Is there any supporting? Oh, God.
No. Let's take a look at this clip here first.
Tavi G always gives supporting.
Yeah. Here's this clip. Just watch.
I have spent my whole life fighting for these issues, and I wasn't even given a chance to put witnesses on. I am being taken out of my community, who's in a constant state of grieving, from door knocking, checking in on my neighbors. And we cannot allow this committee. We cannot allow this committee to be dragged down the Conservative hole of taking over. This is the only place where we as women have been able to sit and be collegial and bring forward witnesses. This is the only place in this place. This is the place where we push for red dress alert. This is the place where we put forward a study that gave a clear correlation between violence against women and resource extraction, something that a Conservative member, the study called disgusting in the news. So this is why I'm here in this committee. And you know, everybody around the table, outside of members that are not regular committee members, that I have always worked across party lines to make sure that this committee functions. And to use women or victims of violence without proper trauma-informed care, including for me, by the way, as a survivor of violence, is really troubling. I am devastated by what has happened here today. Devastated. I'm so devastated, Chair, that it's hard for me to hold back tears, because this was the one place, in this place, where women could sit in safety, and it's no longer safe. And what does that mean? It means...
All right. And two below, there's Andréane Larouche as well. If you would play it from the Bloc Québécois, Mr. Grizzly.
Just a second. Just cue it up here.
Yeah, clearly MP Gazan. Right. This is not staged. This is not for clicks.
No, absolutely not.
Since I was elected in 2019, and I have never seen anything like this. The Status of Women Committee was called in 2020 to examine the impact of the pandemic on women. I came to do the work in 2020. I came back in 2022 because there was a meeting on women in sports. We sat in the summer. Those, regardless of the importance of those issues, we were able to move forward. I came here and witnesses left crying, and I've never seen this before. And seeing how this committee is carrying on, I've never seen that either. I am so disheartened to see that the Status of Women Committee
Sorry, I'm getting another feed somewhere here.
Oh, okay.
My apologies. I got another feed that started to go in my ear, and I had to stop there for a sec because I couldn't tell which was which.
Oh, okay.
So we'll just pick it up right where we left off. I'm sorry about
Right.
that. It just something started playing on its own for some reason, and I couldn't hear. So here we go.
that up until now was very proud of not falling into the trap of partisanship. And I was hoping that my committee would not fall into this trap. Women cannot become tools for political games, and that's what's happening. And so I needed to speak my mind because everyone else has done so. That is my point of order, and I'm so disappointed by what happened today. Nobody wins after a meeting like this one. And unfortunately, the ones who lose are, again, women who are victims of violence. All women who are victims of violence.
So, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything more to be said because, I mean, it's just so gross.
Well, the Conservative Party voted against funding to prevent violence and abuse against women. They voted against it, and then they're using them as political ploys here. I think Adrienne LaRouche nailed it there. Bloc MP, Adrienne LaRouche, chef. Yeah, just
So
horrible.
you know, when
what just
people
took place.
Yeah. So you know when people turn around and say, you know, the Bloc, we don't need the Bloc. This is why I have respect for the Bloc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't agree with their ultimate mission.
No.
But it doesn't mean because we have different political beliefs. We talked about this yesterday. I can sit at the table with somebody who has different political beliefs, so long as you're not ugly on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
They have an aspiration that I can't adhere to. But there's nothing illegal or moral about that aspiration.
No, I just don't. It's not one that we follow or
It's
agree
just
with.
not one that I share. Right? But it's a legitimate one. There are many countries in the world that, you know, things are broken up and they say, you know, like this, we were our own culture and, you know, they formed their own country. That has happened. Right? And there are processes. Scotland was looking to do it. Catalonia wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Just because you don't agree with the political position doesn't mean it's not legitimate. It's just not yours. But on all other subjects, they contribute, and they contribute stuff of value. Oh, man.
Well, let's. I'm going to make a slight pivot here, but we're going to stick with the horribleness of the Reform Party that they call themselves, the Conservative Party of Canada. The executive director of a Saskatoon-based harm reduction group says federal Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre's statements on supervised consumption sites are uneducated. I'm going to read the next line, and then I'm going to scroll to the bottom to read a retort to this. Poilievre has recently referred to the sites as drug dens that a Conservative government would seek to close and not provide a single taxpayer dollar. Demong notes that the federal government does not currently contribute funds to supervised consumption sites.
Yeah.
We've talked about this before.
Yeah.
He will lie to your face to get his message across, and his message is bullshit. I will make sure they don't get a single taxpayer dollar. Well, they don't get any federal money. And if you're going to make sure they get no taxpayer dollars, that means you've overstepped your federal jurisdiction You've overstepped your provincial jurisdiction and went right into municipality and changed the rules on them. Of course, the Conservative Party may come back and argue, well, look what Trudeau did, building houses at the municipal level. Yeah, because the province wasn't doing anything, and you kept hammering the hell out of him saying he's not building homes. So, Sean Fraser said, we're going to deal directly with the municipalities because the municipalities are the ones who build them anyway. So instead of handing money to the provincial governments, which are run by mostly conservatives across the country, who have done not a damn thing with the money they gave them for healthcare. Matter of fact, they cut it from the budget in the province of Ontario. I think $4 billion is still unaccounted for in COVID money, or is it 10? I can't remember.
Yes, and according to Andrew Coyne, remember there was that clip that goes around that says that premiers over like a somewhat period of time have skimmed $70 billion over the last while out of the healthcare system and diverted it to other stuff.
Where's the money?
Where did it go? And we do not know what we got for that because we didn't get healthcare.
Nope. So, the federal government stepped in and is dealing directly with the municipalities simply due to the fact that the municipalities are the ones who build housing. Mm-hmm. It's not done. The provincial government funds it, but it's the municipality that runs it. So it's like, why don't we just take the federal dollars, go right to the city where they can do it and build it and house and home people.
Mm-hmm. Now, I've got something on housing, so remind me not to forget it later.
Okay.
But since we're talking about issues related to women, Steve Boots put out a really interesting TikTok about our friend Tracy.
Do you have that?
Yeah, I just put it to you in the private chat there. A little link. This is someone, an account that Garnet_2223 Bev, who's posted this. So took it from one of Steve's TikToks and decided it needed to be shared.
Yeah, Bev shares a lot of good stuff like that.
Yes, exactly.
That's where we get our Lisa B stuff.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. This is really interesting. It seems that
I've seen this.
It seems that for someone who nobody knew about until about 2-3 days ago, Tracy has done a very, very good job at making herself known.
This is Tracy Foran. She's running for the Conservative nomination in Eskimo Saanich-Sooke. And she has been saying some wild stuff. We're going to take a second to look into the kind of person who's running for CPC nominations. Because she has been busy on Twitter, claiming that Stephen Guilbeault was directly responsible for the Jasper Forestry Management Plan, which was not true. She claims that makes him responsible for burning the town to the ground. And anytime someone told her that she was wrong, she just blocked them. And she does this thing where she constantly demands that people be nice to her. Like, don't talk to her based on emotions, only logic. Cold logic. She's like Spock. Except when this woman shared that she was caring for her late husband in palliative care, Tracy thought that was the moment to chime in with, quote, "Oh, please do tell me how you are better than me. I beg to be enlightened." This was unprompted. She just posted about how she cared for her partner. And Tracy thought this was a great opportunity to dunk on a grieving wife. But she wants you to know what a victim she is. Quote, "I am sacrificing myself for the greater good. Something I am sure you couldn't even begin to comprehend." Why do they always start talking like Sephiroth? And everybody who dares disagree with her is a bot. But that's not even the wildest bit. The wildest bit she wrote herself. It's her bio on her website. We gotta go through this, because it's wild. The standard stuff. Tracy's horrified to see the direction Canada's going in, blah, blah, blah. Because Canada used to be an example of a peaceful nation and what it could achieve. But our government is ignorant of the basic rules of negotiation. We are rapidly losing everything. Glad she got a proofreader. But here's where things take a bit of a wander. I'm just gonna read it, because it's wild. Quote, "Tracy is deeply tied to the communities of Eskimo Saanich-Sooke, having owned a float home in West Bay Marina for almost 10 years, fervently surfed the waves of Jordan River, Sombrio, and Port Renfrew, repaired boats for the Pachena Bay natives, salvaged logs off Victoria beaches, served in the local Canadian Coast Guard, and lived in Sooke, where she argued with bears and watched a cougar snatch a baby deer in broad daylight." That is all one sentence. Also, are you bragging about watching a deer die? But we continue. Tracy has also been blessed with the stories of many locals, including old loggers from towns which don't even exist anymore. Outside of Canada, right around the time of the Fukushima earthquake, she ended up sailing on board the Rainbow Warrior 2 with Greenpeace, joining the ship in Taiwan on its way to Japan to test for radioactivity. However, much like Patrick Moore, Tracy became disillusioned with Greenpeace, realizing the organization was more about drinking parties than effecting real change. So she took the obvious path. She went Greenpeace to yacht dealer. I'm completely serious. Quote, after leaving Greenpeace, Tracy was recruited to manage a Volvo Penta dealership in Thailand, which primarily served yachts in the $2 to $3 million range, all owned by international high net worth individuals from all over the world. This is where Tracy became interested in politics, because every single customer turned into a negotiation on how much our dealership was going to pay to fix their boat. It was here that Tracy realized that some negotiations were more about the people involved than the issues at hand, and she was fascinated by the approach required to win some of these negotiations. She then moved to San Francisco to sell yachts and was quickly recruited into the software industry by some Silicon Valley tech executives, where she learned on the job how to become a professional business analyst, solving problems for big tech companies, which many of you know. Tracy has spent 10 years refining her business skills internationally and is ready to apply what she has learned to fix Canada's biggest problems. Okay, so we've got a Greenpeace yacht dealer. Makes perfect sense. Who really puts grieving widows in their place. Principled. It's important. This is who the Conservatives have running for them. This is the quality of person they are attracting. Seems like a good sign.
Now, you will notice that she represents herself as a business analyst, but she learned that on the job, selling yachts to really, really, really rich people. How much do you want to bet that while she was talking to those really, really, really rich people who buy her yachts, said, wait a minute, if I just take the cassette that you put in my back and pull my string and repeat everything you want me to say, I can actually get a cushy job? Because that resume seems like she went to the Andrew Scheer School of Resume Building. Now, there have been some developments. As you know, kids and cubs, I wrote to, on Twitter, at CPC_ESS, which is the Writing Association for the Electoral District that she wants to become the candidate for. Said, probably want to be aware what this person's doing online and their behavior, because they seem to be extremely mentally unstable and rather abusive. And she'll probably make the news often. And if you don't want to be spending the next 4 years bailing and dealing with PR crises, you might want to nip this potential liability in the bud now by disqualifying her candidacy. Well, Mr. Grizzly, have I got a treat for you. Remember that grieving widow who she just launched an attack on?
Maggie May, yes.
Yes, Mr. Grizzly, if you would put up. Because after she eliminated everyone that would oppose her, this happened.
Wow.
Someone that goes by Son of Edmonton at Solon of YEG. LOL. Maggie May is and I apologize, cunt. Tracy Foran. So I've heard.
Wow.
What face is this, Mr. Grizzly? That's my unimpressed face.
We're going to have to cut this short. They're renovating upstairs. It's noisy as hell in here.
All right. Yeah. Tracy. Conservatives are weird. This is unstable. This is not normal. Nobody should tolerate this. Nobody should be looking at this and say, hey, I want a slice of this. Make it two. This just... Excuse me, fuck me. We should not, as voters and citizens, we should not have to accept or tolerate this being imposed on us. This is the wet blanket. This is the type of wet blanket they want to throw on top of all of us to shut us up. You got to pay attention. You got to get involved. Nobody needs this. Kids and cubs, that's the end of this episode of the Daily Beaver Morning Show. We hope that you love listening to us because we loved making this for you.
Well, you know.
Oh, God help me.
Yeah, I know.
Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless, so please tell your peeps and poops all about us. And hey, anybody, I know I said it online, but if there's anybody here listening anywhere from Women Against Polyev, like, if ever you need our platform, man, just tell us where to stand, what to wear, what time to show up, whatnot. Like, and we'll happily do it because this is not. We've got your back because we can't have this. Because the women for Polyev, they have no mastery over themselves. We need more women to be against Polyev. And we need more men to back up women against Polyev. This is not okay. Remember that sharing is caring and word of mouth is priceless, so please tell your peeps and poops all about us. If you would like to help us and not miss an episode, you don't have to, thanks to the Ray Girl, who, by the way, has also sent us a donation for our mental health walk charities, because we are still accepting the donations if you're willing to do that. So thank you very much, the Ray Girl. You are really, really, really good to us and support us in many, many ways. But if you scan that QR code there under my chin, that will bring you to our Podpage site, podpage.com/the True North Eager Beaver, lowercase letters with a hyphen between each one of those words. And when we have something fresh off the bandwidth, it will come directly to you. If you would like to support us in other ways, then you can make like Kit Elaine and surf on down to the True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated YouTube page and click on all our buttons, like, share, subscribe. Makes us happy when you click us. So make sure we get ourselves some happy. All right. And if you would like to support us in yet one more way, the QR code by Mr. Grizzly's Head brings you to our coffee page. That's ko-fi.com/eagerbeaver, lowercase letters, all in one word, if you are listening. And there you can leave a donation. That's where you will find our tip jar, or we call it the Emergency Hydration Fund. And there you can, if you leave a donation, that helps us finance and subsidize the show and cover our costs. And we really do appreciate every bit of help that you can give to this, because it's not free. It's a labor of love, but it's not free for us to do this. So any help that you can give, we really do appreciate. If you are not able to give help, that's fine. Doesn't matter. Because the gift of your attention is the one that we cherish most. And, of course, your participation in the show. If you're just a lurker, that's fine. Right? We're happy that you're there. But if you have something to say, you have a topic you'd like to propose, you have a piece of news that you should be brought to our attention, or you just have a comment, something that you think that we should do more of or do less of, or that can make the show better, you want to know what it is. So write to us at truenortheagerbeaver@gmail.com, on our Twitter feed at True Eager, Facebook page True North Eager Beaver, or leave us a message on our YouTube page. All right, because democracy is something that you do, there are some by-elections coming up, so make sure that you contact your local electoral body or candidate of choice and offer to provide some help in order to get the word out. Mr. Grizzly, you have some words of wisdom. Yeah, I hear that noise. It's really, really bad. I don't have any words of wisdom today, too. I'm actually just floored by all of this. So I guess words of wisdom. If something like this floors you, allow yourself to feel that feeling, feel it intensely, then let it wash over you, and then resolve to taking some steps to make sure that these people cannot get power at all. All right, Mr. Grizzly, it could be a tough world out there, so please be kind too and be gentle with yourself. Cue the cock, please. You are listening to a True North Eager Beaver Media Incorporated podcast. The True North Eager Beaver podcasts are proudly brought to you by our founding sponsors, the Misfit Mysteries from Corvid Moon Publishing, your source for science fiction, fantasy, and cozy mysteries featuring a broad diversity of characters. CanadianTarot.com, their uniquely Canadian online eclectic tarot community, and the Peppermaster, hot pepper sauces made from farm-fresh ingredients to thrill your taste buds and expand your mind. We are grateful to the Crier Media Network for its support, Pete Jarvis for our artwork, and Paul Joseph Something for our opening and closing sequence music. All right, kids and cubs. Also, the people from Women Against Polyev asked me when asked how I could help. Says just keep on retweeting Women Against Polyev, the hashtag. So if all of you could join in, that would be quite helpful. I said I had a short Easter egg and I forgot what it was because the Women Against Polyev thing came into my head. That's the account She Learn, from which I'd gotten everything there. Wow. You want to read that, Mr. Grizzly? Okay.
Too much news here.
Not enough adjectives in English to describe what happened. Canadians can no longer tolerate CPCHQ behavior and obstructing committee business. This was a staged event with press involved. Let's start the clear out ahead of the next election. Remove them. Remove these three committed Conservative MPs from the Status of Women Committee immediately. Shelby Cramp-Newman, Michelle Ferrari, and Anna Roberts. So there you go. From Hastings, Lennox, Addington, Peterborough, Kawarthra, and King Vaughan. So if you live in those electoral districts, these are people you should not vote for, and you should be writing people about and saying, yeah, fix this. All right. Have a beaverific day.
I'll see you.